Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everybody. So we spoke a lot about emotions and that emotions are containers of energy. And the strongest one that we all carry in us, and most of us carry it lifelong, is fear. So the fear, it seems to be like a wall around our life. It seems to be something that we meet at every aspect of our life, be it in the past, be it in this moment, be it in the future. And the way we become fearless or living without fear is very much connected to understand the role of the child. So we have been taught since the beginning of Mr. Freud that we are wounded in the childhood. We got traumatized, and this trauma made us to be handicapped as an adult, more or less, no? And to have all the issues in our relationships and have all the things in our life. And with this psychology, with this information, and this is a whole field of energy also that turns around it, there also has been an industry almost generated, you can call it an industry, that turns around this matter and tries to heal half of the world from their childhood. No? So let me give you another perspective on this matter. And this is that when you look at yourself, how you are today, and you compare it with your memories or what you think are your memories of your childhood, then you can say all of you are heroes. All of you have survived it, made their life, and all of you are able still to love, to feel love. All of you reached somehow some kind of livelihood. So whatever happened in this past, whatever happened to you as this child, you survived it. Not only you survived it, but you came actually quite good out of it. And in the child psychology, we describe the child in our tradition as the indefeatable one. And if you look in the spiritual texts, if you look in the spiritual images, every religious movement starts with the birth of a very special child. No? It is why it is all around a child. A child has nothing. A child is powerless. A child cannot represent anything, isn't it? But it is just the body that is like this. But in our tradition, what we call the representative of the divine is actually represented in the child. It is asexual. It somehow has no gender consciousness. It is in a permanent state of bliss. It doesn't know any fear. It is full of love, full of openness, full of curiosity, full of playfulness. Yeah. And all that is attributed to the divine. So, and logically, if there is a source from which we come from, that source has to reflect, especially in the beginning, isn't it? So this is where it starts. And this child can take any circumstances. It is indefeasible, it's invincible, actually. Yeah. And I have met many children that were in war zones that had terrible childhoods. And if you look even in the histories of prophets, Sayyidina Muhammad, peace be upon him, he didn't meet even his father. He passed before he was born. His mother, he lost it in the age of 5. No. Then he was grown up by his uncle. He was under a permanent threat. So his environment was basically hostile. No. And he came out as a loving, powerful, beautiful person that has no words really to describe. Then look to any other, Sayyidina Musa. His mother threw him in a basket to save his life down the river. And God knows what would have happened to him. But only this story, imagine this story would have happened to you. You will understand that your mother has put you in a basket and put you in a river, in a God knows what kind of river, right? And gave you away. Yeah. So all of them, they made it as all of us made it, because there is not a perfect parents and there is not a perfect childhood. And thanks God, there is not a perfect parents, because perfect parents, the result of perfect parents would be that the child can never grow up and will, by default, only develop an inferiority out of the moral superiority of their parents. Yeah. So we need imperfect parents to have a reference to our own strengths and our own goodness and our own willpower and so on and so on. And this is why when the so-called puberty comes into, this is a first battle that we start with our parents, right? And it's a needed battle. Therefore, when you can stop thinking that this child is a weak one and a little one that only is fragile, but actually that you see this child is actually our guide. It actually carries the whole knowledge and the whole strength that you need to master your life. And for this reason, when you see an awakened one, you see this child in them. No? Look at an Eckhart Tolle, look at the Maulana. You could see this child and you can see this child in them, right? They all have that because it comes with this innocence. No? It comes with this freshness, with this goodness. And that is how they appear. So do not fear this weakness in you, because this weakness is actually you're grown up and has to come and take the strength back that it has been owned when it was a child. That is actually the integration into the inner child. So I hope that gives you a kind of understanding, and look at yourself, in yourself, find it out how it is really, no? And all of you know that they have a will that is invincible. And that will carry you for many things. So the ego has a little will. And the ego has a will where it can be demotivated, can be motivated, and it falls down again, can hold the discipline, cannot hold the discipline. But the child, it carries. And it goes and goes and goes. It was so strong, it carried and pulled us up today. When they asked Sri Aurobindo, what is God? He said, it is a child, an eternal child that plays at the eternal court of the eternal kingdom. And it keeps on playing and playing and playing. And I found that a very wonderful description, how existence is. Yeah. And wasn't it Jesus, peace be upon him, that said, be like the children? Yeah. He made the children to be our example, how we should move in our lives, right? I hope this inspires you enough to at least overthink your position towards yourself with this topic. And as a result, it will make you fearless. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.